Welcome to the 1000 days of live coaching. I started this 1000 days of free live coaching for three reasons. Number one, to help you make wise decisions and choices in your financial life. Because if you don't have financial peace, if you don't master your finances, this world is going to be very difficult for you. It's going to be very difficult. Just face the fact. If you don't master your finances, the world is going to be very difficult, for you. Number two, to help you grow your business. In this part of the world, I'm talking about Africa, Caribbean, Pacific, the three core places I'm actually serving. The businesses are very small. Many people started their business in 1995. Many people in Africa started business in 1995. Same year, 1993, about the same year as when Jeff Bezos started Amazon. Today, Amazon is a global phenomenon. It's all literally has footprint in every part of the world. But many of us who started our businesses in 1993, same time, we are still within the same street. The third reason that I'm doing this live coaching is focused on relationship, on family. I want to bring back the family values. Family is no longer what it used to be. And when you have dysfunctional families, the world becomes a very difficult place. You have people fighting each other. We have domestic violence. We have all kinds of things. And so it is in that spirit that we are considering the topic today. Is social media sabotaging modern dating and marriage? Is social media sabotaging modern dating and marriage? Now, as you join, please tell me where you are joining from, what part of the world you are joining from, and tell me your expectations for this topic around relationship, around dating and marriage. So you're probably single. What are your thoughts about marriage? You're probably married. What are your thoughts and your expectations today? What would you like to learn? Please put it in the chat, in the comment section. Okay. So now, there's hardly any day, if not any 1 hour, that our social media space is not flooded with terrible news about husband and wives, quarreling, fighting, divorcing, bitter. There's all kinds of drama every single day. And then you have husbands and wives, as they say, washing their dirty linen in public, in social media. And then we see all kinds of stories about infidelity, about immorality in that space. So, and then I've also noticed in recent times that many young people are very, very cautious, in fact, afraid of getting married. So in those days growing up, by 22, between 20 and 23, 24, a girl was already married. If you were 25 and 26, getting to 28, and you were married, those of you who are older, like my generation, you can confirm what I'm saying. If a girl was already 28, 29, I wasn't married, the people in the village got worried. Her parents got really, really worried. But today it's very common to see women in their late 30s, in their 40s, and they don't even care about getting married. And then the same thing happens to young people. In our time, I remember I wanted to get married at 25 because it was the in thing at the time. You got married at 25, at 24. As a man in this culture, by the time you were in your 30s and then you were not married, people wondered, well, if something was wrong with you. And then that's when your parents, especially your mother, will start putting pressure on you. Oh, listen, I want grandchildren, grandkids. But today, you find young men in their 30s, in their 40s, and the last thing on their mind is getting married. So I think that this is very, very disturbing. I think that this is very disturbing. And then when you ask some of these young people, what they tell you is that they're actually afraid of getting married. Because you see, what they see on social media every single day. It's not very encouraging, to them to want to get married. Okay, let me log on here so I can read your comments very easily. I'm not sure why this is. Just give me a second. So let me log on another device so I can read you. And then that's when your parents. Okay, so it's in this context that I want to start this conversation. And I really want this to go viral. I really want this to become a major conversation because this is massive. This is massive. As a social observer, I think that this trend is becoming a bit concerning. Young people don't want to get married because of the things they read, because of what they see on social media, because of the models of relationship that they are seeing all over the place. People are no longer seeing the kind of relationship modeling that we had, in our time, in the 60s, in the 50s, in the 40s, in the 70s, and then maybe some part of 80s. When people got married, that was it. They were married for life. And marriage has always been a force multiplier. Marriage is still a force multiplier. Marriage was a force multiplier in my life. What do I mean by marriage being a force multiplier? Please type it in the comment section. Because if people really understand, type marriage is force multiplier. Everyone, type it in the comment section and I'll tell you what that means. And if you catch the insights that I'm going to share with you tonight, some of you who have been hesitating about getting married, you will get married by February. And that's really my hope. Okay, that we'll be able to put things right tonight. Marriage is a force multiplier. Type it in the comment section. Marriage is a force multiplier. Unfortunately, people have turned marriage, into warfare, into this toxic thing. And it's really wrong. The toxicity in marriages today is alarming and it is wrong. And then you see children grow up in families where they see their parents slugging it out every day, using very bitter words against each other, fighting late into the night. So these children grew up and it's like, if this is what marriage is like, this sort of thing that I see in my parents, I don't want it. And so this is why somehow we need to set this thing right. We need to set it right. Because you see, everybody's after money. People are money. But the truth is, if you have all the money, but you don't have very healthy relationship, you are not successful. Your life is still going to be a hell on earth. Why is marriage? Okay, first of all, what is a force multiplier? A force multiplier, in plain language, is something that allows you, you have a certain unit, let's say of force, or a certain unit of resource. When you add a force multiplier to it, it will generate 1,000, 1,000,000 times the impact of that your resource, of what you have, because you've added a force multiplier to it. It's like in business, marketing is a force multiplier, because marketing can take your revenue, which is $10,000, and multiply that revenue. So marketing is a force multiplier that can take that revenue from 10,000 to 100,000 to 1 million. In the same way, marriage is a force multiplier in our lives, so much so that King Solomon said, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor." Many people are going around looking for favor. Even the so-called, when you say favor, most people in Nigeria are talking about money, but favor is much more than money. And so, in my own case, when I realized, my personal story, that marriage was a force multiplier, I quickly got married. On my 30th birthday, I got married. And I felt I did it 5 years later than I wanted to. And I've been blaming my wife for that, because I don't know where she was, or all those 5 years, so she was hiding somewhere. She was supposed to have come to my university. She went to another university, because if she had been in my university, we would have married five years earlier. So I married on my 30th birthday. And when I got married, ladies and gentlemen, which is why I'm demonstrating why this is force multiplier for you. Force marriage is force multiplier. When I got married, I was a struggling young man. I didn't have a bank account because it's only people who had money or who had business that had bank account. As a young man at 30, I didn't have a bank account. In fact, when we were getting married, I didn't have what you would call a job. I was grossly underpaid in what I was doing, which was more like social work. So I didn't have money. I remember what I was paid would typically last me for 1 week, and I was always getting IOUs from that office. It was so embarrassing. It couldn't feed me as a person. And then, so that's why people thought I was crazy, that in that state, people believed that the last thing I should think about was getting married. Because like many of you, when I tell you, you need to get married, because it's a spiritual thing. Many of you say, oh, I don't have money. I don't have a good job. How will I take care of the woman? Here you go. I didn't even have, it was the organization that I was working with I didn't have a place. They gave me a place to stay. And in that so-called, because it was really so-called 2-bedroom flat, I was staying in Ketu in Lagos. For how many years? I started with that organization, I believe in 1993, way into 1995. So I got that place like early 93 or something like that. I couldn't furnish it. The sitting room was barren. I couldn't put even like a plastic chair. That is how bad it was financially for me. I couldn't put a plastic chair. I couldn't afford a plastic chair. Plastic chair was luxury. There was nothing in the other place. I just had a bed where I laid my head in the whole of the so-called 2-bedroom I was staying. So things were like that. And the last thing that should have been on a normal man's mind should not be to get married, because you want to make money first, get a house, build a house, make money. That's a terrible mistake. And then the good thing was, it actually helped me to get the perfect woman, because this girl, when I proposed to her, I told her this is the situation of things. I do not have money. I took her to the place I was staying. I said, this is where I'm staying. So I don't want to fool you. I don't want to give you an impression that everything was, because I didn't have it. I didn't have it. The very day I proposed to her, I told her, I do not have money. This sandals I'm wearing is all I've got. Is all I've got. In fact, on our wedding day, we couldn't even fund drinks for people. We didn't have that kind of money to fund it. But I was interested in getting married. So it was so amazing, because I got a girl who loved me for what she saw in me, for who I was, and not because of any material thing. I'm telling you. And this girl was a well-trained, well-educated professional. Big deal. Big deal. And there were people after her. There was a man who was living abroad, which is a big thing for people around that area. There was a man who was living abroad that was after her. And then at some point, her relations were trying to force her on that man. And this girl said no. And she came to a man who had no money, who had no job, who had no seat in the sitting room where he was staying, no chair. But why did I insist on getting married? Even when everybody was saying you are crazy. You don't have job, you don't have money, and you want to get married. Because marriage is a force multiplier. There's a principle, the Jewish principle, that says that one of you will chase 1,000. 2 of you will chase 10,000. Marriage is a force multiplier. When you have the right man, lady, your life is multiplied 1 million times. When you have the right woman as wife, you can do 1 million times more what you could have done when you were alone. So the foundational principle is that marriage is an institution, it's a spiritual thing. I don't know why people go into marriage, but marriage is a spiritual thing. It's set up by God, the creator of the universe himself, who said it is not good for man to be alone. So I'll make a partner, a helpmeet, for him. So marriage is a force multiplier. And I dare tell many of you, because that's what happened to me, that many of you have been struggling, young men particularly, because you're not married, you don't have a woman by your side. Women are mysterious creatures. It's just unfortunate that women have been objectified. They've been turned into sex objects. But women are mysterious creatures. Very, very mysterious. They have mysterious powers that God put inside them to make a man what a man can be. A woman can make you. In just as she can destroy you. If you find yourself in the hand of a wrong woman, she can destroy you just like this, without just, at the snap of the finger. But a woman too, your right woman, can build you. There's no way I'll be what I am today if I didn't get married to the girl that I did at the time that I did. So many of you are struggling because you're single. So that money, that thing, everything, the success you've been looking for has been eluding you. Since you graduated from the university at 24, you are now 39, you're still struggling. It's because you don't have a woman by your side. You don't have a wife. So marriage is a very powerful thing. Now, so the sad thing is every day we are seeing horrible examples of marriage on social media. So it's discouraging a lot of people. So that's why we are asking today, we are dealing with the topic, is social media sabotaging modern dating and marriage? So let's talk about it. And then as I'm talking, if you have any comments or any questions or any direction you would like us to go, feel very free to put it in the comment section. So let me see what you already have in the comment section. Afi says, thanks for your message. So what about some pastors saying that men should not get married if they don't have a job or have enough to get married? Those people are talking from their stomach. Some people eat a lot of fufu or whatever. And, they just talk the one that God didn't tell them to say. Because if they are true pastors, what the Bible they are carrying says is that he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So, UK, I don't know why they say that in the UK. Okay, so there might be a reason, okay, just using, so let me not totally dismiss what they said because I don't know the context, because the Western world, can be crazy. It's not like it is here. I'm not really sure, that you can do that without a measure of faith and confidence in God for what you're doing. I'm not really sure you can get married in that place, the way that society is structured. But again, you can, because it depends on the person. If the person you're getting married to actually has the same values. But I'm just saying, I had no job. In fact, mine was even worse than not having a job. Not only did I not have money, but we got married on 2nd December 1995. By January 1996, I went into school. No job. No, she didn't have the job. I didn't have a job. And then within weeks, she also became pregnant with our first son. So here I was in postgraduate school, no money, no job. She too, she had just finished youth service, no job, no money, and then she's pregnant. But I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared because I went on the promise that, so I don't know how individuals in the UK can work that out. So maybe your pastor really, because of what he has seen, is wise to do that. I don't know. I'm sorry. Let me just say, I don't know. If anybody knows how to answer that question in the comment section, please do. But for me, that was the most logical thing to do, because I found that I was not making it on my own. And so if I had a woman, women are wonderful. Women are amazing. I am telling you. I think the problem is that many men don't know how to live with a woman. And there's a reason you are called a husband. Women are like ChatGPT. Is the prompt that you see, if you give them the right prompt, they can give you excellent output. Just ChatGPT can be useless, if you don't know how to use it. Women are mysterious, and I respect them a lot, and I look at them that way. The society has made them sex objects. And it's so demonic, making them sex subject, because that's not what they are there. They are opportunity openers. They are greatness setters. In fact, I can say that besides my father, the influence of my father, the training he gave me, the love, being a father to me, I would say that more than 90% of all the good things that have happened to me came through a woman. Came through my mother, came through my wife, came through my only sister, came through some other women associates. The first time I got connected to the presidency in Nigeria to consult for them, it was a woman. A woman just made a phone call. The first time I had an appointment with a federal minister, at that time the minister of Niger Delta, because there was something I was to do for them. It was a woman that set it up, and if you're Nigerian, you know that seeing those people is near impossible. It's easier for the eye of the camera to see these people, because the guys are full of themselves. The ministers, the senators, these people are team guns. A woman made a phone call and set it up. I flew to Abuja and saw the man. Is it once or twice, when I left Shell and lost all our money and things became very difficult? 3 women independently. I did not ask them, and they did not tell each other. Each of them gave me post-dated checks. I did not ask them. One of them just came and said, okay, Ogbo, I know you are going through tough times, so here are checks. I think she gave me like 6 months post-dated checks, so to use to help you move around and then sort out yourself and all that. A woman did that. And then there was a time it was extremely difficult, to pay a particular school fee. And I didn't even ask this woman. She was asking me, she just came to me, how are things and all that. I said, well, challenging, this and that, I got a couple of school fees too. The next thing I saw, and these things when I'm talking about millions. The next thing I saw, the woman just, went to her husband, said something to him, which was like 5 seconds. The next thing, the husband invited me and gave me a check, whopping millions to clear it. Don't play with women. Men, I'm just telling you, don't sexualize them. Don't objectify women. See them as divine creatures that they are, and enablers. Because I think most of us are suffering because of the way we treat women. If you treat women wrongly, I'm telling you, the universe punishes you. Women and children. If you treat them wrongly, the universe will punish you. So, never oppress a woman. Never lift your hand to beat a woman. Instead, just walk away. Guys, if you're married, don't do it. Having said that, I'm not saying that women cannot be foolish. They can be foolish, yo. They can be foolish. But I'm telling you, many of us are suffering because of our attitudes towards women. We are objectifying them. We are just seeing them as sex objects, instead of seeing them for what God made them. So don't disrespect, don't maltreat, don't violate the girl child. Whether she's 3 years old, or she's 30, or she's 80, be very careful how you treat women. Okay, so marriage is a force multiplier. Okay, good. So thank you, Afi, for that question. So Afi says, what about women who have no husband and in their early 50s? There are so many things. There's no one answer to that. But I do know that many women in the earlier years, it's not all the women, many of them in their earlier years had the opportunity and they saw it slip by. Maybe because they had, I'm saying not all cases, but there are cases where some people actually had someone sent their way. And I even know a couple of people like that. And they said no. And the man went and married another person. So sometimes, women have these, stupid expectations. They want a made up. Don't you see some of these things I see in the social media? And I'm shocked. A person drives into a mall with an expensive looking car, talks to a random girl. Hey babe, how are you, baby girl? You're pretty, you're that. And she giggles. Can I take you out? Oh no, I have a boyfriend. And then she says, but is this your car? And the guy says yes. I like your car. Okay, we can go out. And they enter. Don't you see this? And I'm like, oh my God, what stupid creatures are like this? Because of car. You enter a stranger's car. That's how many of them have been hurt. They enter, they see car. Then they get into the car, they see cash. And they're totally carried away. So sometimes some women play hard, when they are young. They play hard and they play stupid when they are young. So they stay like that. Because the truth is, men know what they want. Real men know what they want. But when they are young, all these young girls are busy exposing themselves, their bodies naked on social media, whatever. And the men, they will use you because that's what you're showing them. You're showing them all those. I just see these stupid pictures that girls post. They show you their backside and then they do like this. And then, they do like, then they wear something and the men will be looking. But then when it comes time to get married, no. They will not, and I'm just telling you ladies here, they will not come. So sometimes those women that you're seeing who are in their 50s and they are not married, sometimes go check what they did when they were young people. And I'm not saying it's in all cases. All cases are not like that, but that's what I'm telling you. The men will use you. You're in the university with them and you are showing them all that, and then they are using you. They leave university. When they want to get married, it is not you they will marry. Don't you see it all over the place? Those men who use the girls in the university are not the ones who marry them. So those girls come out, when the men want to get married, they find someone else. Or they go to the village and pick somebody. They will not come to you because they know the kind of life you lived and the kind of life that, you will live. So there's something men call wife material. So I think that might be part of it. Yes, Godwin says, if you treat women and children right, if you maltreat women and children, the universe will punish you for it. Very true. I'm telling you honestly. I don't understand why it works like that, but that's the way it is. If you maltreat women and children, this universe will punish you. It's just sooner or later. So don't do it. I think somehow God has a very soft spot for weak people, and then they are called weaker vessels. So you don't use the muscles. When I see a man punching a woman, I'm like, is that all you've got? Or the muscles, is that what your muscles were given? Okay, given for. There's a reason we were given muscles to protect them, not to harass them. Okay, so thanks for those comments. So let's go for, let's take a couple of ideas on how social media is sabotaging dating. So that was a long introduction, but that was very helpful in setting the context. So the first thing I want to talk about, so I have 4 talking points on this subject. I have 4 talking points. The first one is emotional infidelity. So we're talking about how social media is sabotaging relationships. I am personally convinced that behind all these divorces and marital dysfunction, that social media is contributing quite some bit. Social media is contributing. It was bad though before social media. Those things existed, but it looks to me like the social media is also a force multiplier for relationship dysfunction. So the first thing I want to talk about is emotional infidelity, and I would refer to it as the silent threat. Silent threat. Emotional infidelity. There's plenty of it. on social media. Okay, so social media doesn't just connect people, it creates intimate, often unspoken connections that can lead to emotional infidelity. You see, emotional infidelity is as bad and has the same impact as physical infidelity. You know, so we need to recognize that emotional cheating exists. It can happen in private DMs. People are DMing one another privately, you know. So I have a connection on LinkedIn who at some point, you know, was just tired of the way men were harassing her, sending her amorous messages in her DM. At some point, you know, she got so frustrated that she started publishing some of these things. And it's amazing what people are doing online, the emotional cheating. And many of these people messaging this girl are married people. Married men do a lot of emotional cheating, okay, in their DMs. Of course, women do the same thing. So through flirtatious interactions or even just constant online engagement with someone other than your partner. So what starts as an innocent communication can subtly erode trust, making it just as dangerous as physical cheating. Okay, so women also do it a lot. Women also do it. So women do slide into my DM and then they write things there that make me wonder, why would a girl, married or unmarried, come into the DM of a married man to start begging for money and start making suggestive comments? So it does happen. And then sometimes it could be your old classmate. You graduated from the university 20 years ago, before there was social media, before there was internet. And then all of a sudden, internet comes and then connects you with that your college sweetheart who is already in a different marriage, and you also in your own marriage. And before you know it, you know, she begins to confide in you about her frustrations, you know, with her husband. Or you begin to give her compliments. Oh, you're so beautiful. Does your husband tell you? Does he appreciate this beauty? You know? And then you are sharing, receiving intimate thoughts like that. So because of that, these emotional exchanges, you know, slowly build a connection that her husband doesn't know about. Okay, so you can create a scenario where a person is not physically cheating, but the emotional connection formed online feels just as intimate and impactful as an affair. So emotional cheating can be often more difficult to detect, but it is equally damaging, and it happens on a daily basis. And then if you have an example, share it. Could be your friend or could be yourself of such tendencies online. But emotional cheating has been facilitated, you know, by the social media. Is easily facilitated. So sometimes what a woman doesn't get in her marriage, she comes to social media to try to get it through people's DMs and things like that. Okay, so it could be as damaging as physical cheating. Point number 2 is the comparison trap. Okay, social media's role in relationship dissatisfaction is huge, because you see, couples come and then they post how their lives are amazing. They post the pictures of their vacations, and they post pictures of they playing with their children in swimming pool and doing all kinds of things. And they post pictures of them in Dubai, in Australia, in Germany, and things like that. So before you know it, people become the woman starts comparing. See that man. See, you know, Harry. It's a man like you. See where he took them to Dubai in June. This is September. They're already in Australia. You know, see another. So that dissatisfaction begins to happen, and it's because online is full of this sort of thing. Okay, and then the man is scrolling, the woman is scrolling, and the man is scrolling. He's also seeing other women. Okay, and then because the social media tells you that that what to look for in a woman is her backside. So she looks at her wife's own and starts looking at the backside of all the other ones on social media. So that dissatisfaction, comparing your wife with those people, and you're comparing your husband, with the things you see online. So the saddest thing about that is that most of those things, 99% of those things you see online don't reflect reality. They are fake. So you're seeing the buttocks of all these other women. You do not know what they did. I was shocked. And it wasn't long ago when I realized that there are things that women wear on their hips to make their hips big, and that they buy it in the market, and it feels like body, so it's a kind of body attachment or something that they wear it. You do not know. Then her hair, you're comparing, you like the hair of the picture you're seeing on social media, and you look at your wife's hair and you start comparing, and you do not know what she's wearing. You do not know what she put in her hair. You don't know what her real hair was. I saw a beautiful woman with a beautiful hair, and then she removed that thing because she said that it was hot. She removed it. When I saw her hair, the thing had receded, up to ugly hair. But when you see her picture as a man, you start comparing her with your husband. There's just so much with your wife. There's so much fake. There's so much fake online. All those things you are looking at, that's setting you up in the comparison trap. Because most of the things you see online is picture perfect. It's been edited. Literally everyone puts their best foot forward. So it's very, very tiny percentage of content creators that actually are authentic, that actually value authenticity and tell you the truth and show you things the way they are. And then unfortunately, the people you seem to follow the most are the people showing you all those picture perfect things that are not true. Then when some of us come to tell you, no, that's not how money is made. No, these people are not. That real wealth takes time. No, this is get rich quick. Run away from it. You call us. You say, oh, that is your time. But not everything you see online is real. So you're comparing your husband with the things you're scrolling and seeing. You're comparing your wife with all those things you are seeing there. And it's creating this discontentment in your marriage, creating problems, creating tension that only worsens over time. Okay, so number 3, the hidden danger. How small online behaviors can lead to big trust issues. Your biggest asset in dating and in marriage is trust. Type that, everybody, type that in the comment section. The biggest asset in dating and marriage is trust. And you need to defend and protect that asset with all you have got. Because the moment that trust is eroded, it's going to be difficult to recover that relationship. It can be recovered, but it's going to be very difficult. The biggest asset, the number one asset in dating and marriage is trust. So now, so there are little, especially, if you're married to someone who, who doesn't feel quite secure. I don't wish you that. Please don't marry someone who is not secure. I'm almost tempted to say that it's better not to get married than to marry a man who is not secure, or to marry a woman who is not secure, who is not comfortable in her own skin. That's why if you marry a woman who is not secure, every phone call you make, she will come, unlock your phone. Who called you? That's why if you're in the bedroom making a call, she's in the kitchen. She will leave what she's doing in the kitchen and come to the bedroom. Oh yeah, continue. Who are you talking to? That is horrible. That's hell. Don't marry a person like that. And don't marry a man like that. A man who is so insecure that if you are doing well, you're earning more than him. It's a problem for him. There are insecure men like that. So they don't want you to grow higher than them. They don't want you to be, they don't want you to make progress in your life, on your career. because they don't want you to earn more money than them. And if you do, it's a big blow to their ego. Please don't marry a man like that. It's going to be hell. You know, I see a lot of things in my work. A woman called me crying. She's gotten admission to do her PhD a couple of years ago, you know, and she's a lecturer somewhere. So her PhD would actually enhance her job. And the man said no. The man said no, you cannot go. So she was weeping and crying. And I'm like, why? He said no, that he said so. Because this guy cannot bear the wife coming out to answer doctor, somebody, and he himself. I think whether he was a trader or something like that. So don't marry a man that is not secure. And don't marry a girl who is not secure. Now, because if you do that, liking a photo of another woman or another person, even if innocently done, can create a problem. But in any case, even at that, those things, even if the person is secure, even if the woman is secure or the man is secure, you're liking a photo, liking photos, following someone, especially some of these crazy celebrities, you know, who show us their body parts. The women I'm talking about show us their body parts, and then they're really worshipped, you know, by men and things like that. And then I think it's also disrespectful, you know, for your wife, you know, you are following a character like that. Then all her concerts, you are following, you are commenting, and then you're even telling her about it. There's one person I'm almost tempted to mention her name. You know, I just find her very disgusting. I don't know her very well, but I've seen a couple of clips, you know, of her concert and of how she dresses. And then sometimes, you know, these people leak their intimate photos, because that thing is witchcraft, so cultic, you know, because they use it to entice men. And then you're in bed with your wife, or you're in the sitting room trying to do something, and then you're scrolling the Instagram, and it is this woman. That's disrespectful. And then that thing can create trust issues. You know, that it can create trust issues. So trust is fragile, and every hidden action online can undermine the foundation of transparency in your relationship, even if your husband does not know about it. You know, some women are chatting with other men, married men, single men, sharing things that they shouldn't be sharing, and their husband doesn't know about it. So even if he doesn't know about it, it's still a problem, because it's going to create trust issues. Even if your partner doesn't catch you doing it, it's going to create trust issues. So set clear boundaries about being open in your online behaviors to protect the trust that holds your marriage together. Because sometimes you start following someone until that person now starts becoming more attractive than your wife that you have physically. You have an online woman that, for goodness sake, you know nothing about, other than the picture perfectness she's showing you online. And this is like creating big problems, you know, for men and then for women. Okay, so understanding that trust can be easily undermined by small, hidden online behaviors and actions can lead to the realization of you setting up boundaries around social media, how you use it, and you sit down with your spouse and discuss how do we use this to build a relationship rather than to sabotage it. Okay, finally, the fourth talking point is that I've just introduced it, that you should, you know, find ways, you know, sit with your spouse to discuss how you can use social media to strengthen instead of sabotaging your relationship. Because the truth is, social media has come to stay. It's become part of our lives. But it is dangerous when couples spend more time on social media than they spend with each other. I think there's a huge problem with that. You spend more time apart on social media than you spend in the house when you come together. So there are simple rules, like one of the rules we made in my own house, you know, when we are in the dining and eating, just no phone. You don't put the phone on the dining table. And if your phone rings, you are not answering it. Okay. And then there's a certain time, you know, when we go, by the time we go to bed, phones are left outside, out of the bedroom. It's out there. And then there's a certain time you can't get my phone. I put it on, I use iPhone, so I put it on sort of do not disturb. So you call, your call won't come through, but it will show that you called me. So there are little boundaries that you can set to protect your marriage. The social media is devastating marriages in many ways. It's showing bad examples, it's distracting you, it's consuming a lot more time. The time that you should use to build and nurture your relationship than you should. Okay? But then there are healthy ways that both of you can use social media, even to create fun content, to create, if you have games, or like what I do with my wife, once in a while, we sing together. I play the guitar. We really enjoy singing, singing with one another, not even about sharing it. We just enjoy singing. Right from the time, in fact, I met her in the choir, actually. I met her in the choir, very funny story. I was leading the choir at the time, and she was a youth corper, and she just came into that church. So while I was leading the singing, I saw her. So this was early 1990. So I saw her, and I said to my heart, God, I want that person. This is the girl I want, Well, so the rest is history. I said, I like that one. And then guess what? I think the same Sunday or the very next one, they made announcements, for people to join the choir. And this girl walked right to come and see me. She walked right in there to come and see me. That's how I caught her. So we sing. So once in a while, we sing together and share in social media. So you can do things like that. Use it to build, to nourish, not to sabotage one another. And I will summarize by saying that this thing ultimately is a heart issue. This is a heart issue. Everybody type heart issue. Heart. It does not matter how much I say or what I tell you or what anybody tell you. If the condition of your heart is just wrong, if your heart is already compromised with such things, it doesn't matter what anybody tell you, you won't change. But if you really understand these things and then they dawn on you, they come into your awareness, you will realize that this thing is a matter of the heart. It's something that you have to work on your values, on your choices, on the things that really matter most to you. So if your relationship, if your marriage really matters to you, the way mine matters to you, this is the 30th year of our marriage. And I tell you, looking back, looking back, I think it has been the greatest earthly blessing that I have. If my marriage had not succeeded, everything else would have failed. So that's how I value my marriage. And because I value it, now I'm talking about heart issue, because ultimately you have to determine, first of all, in your heart, that this is something of value to you. This has eternal value to you. Because if something is very valuable to you, you protect it. If somebody gave you a diamond ring, or somebody gave you some bars of gold, is it 18 karat gold? What's the highest karat gold? 18 karat or something. If somebody gives it to you, you know how you value it. And then some of you suffered before you got your first car. You know how you value that car. When you go to pothole, you will go into that pothole with 0.1 kilometers per hour. You will crawl into it because you don't want this baby to bounce and, because you value it. Whatever you value, you care for. Whatever you value in your heart, you protect it no matter what. Because I value my marriage. This have been 30 years of fidelity, 100% fidelity. Not that the opportunities have not come. Even as a married man, I have faced more seduction from women than when I was single. Quote me. I have faced more seduction. And I don't know why they do it, At some point I'm like, why are you coming to married men? And some of those situations were people who knew that I was married. So, but because it is valuable for me, lady, you stand no chance. No, you stand no chance. This body is for that one queen. Forever. You stand no chance because it's value to me. So, I'm ending tonight's meeting, calling on you, calling on your heart. This is a heart issue. Do you really value this? And if you do, what choices are you going to make to protect it? And then, if you have been scared and afraid to get married, let tonight change that for you. All right? And again, because value attracts value. There's danger in marrying the wrong person. But if you have the right values, when you are dating, that's the time to discuss it. That's the time to talk about what you value. And if your values don't match, please go your separate ways. Don't get married because it's going to fail. Healthy marriage is a values game. Okay? So, before we round off, we have a couple of minutes, like 5 minutes. Before we round off, as usual, as our custom is, please type in the chat. Let me know in the comment section, what was your aha moment? Just let me know that one thing that you're walking out of today with. What is your aha moment? What is that one thing that you're walking out of tonight's session with? Okay, your aha moment. And then, if you have some more parts of this topic that you want us to explore, go ahead and suggest it. If you have some suggestion, maybe for people who are looking for who to marry, or for those of you who are already married and then you want to make your relationship work much better, type that in the comment section. But I would like to know, what was your aha moment today? Quickly. Let's take a minute or two and type that into the comment section. And while you do that, we are still running the early bird for the financial fitness challenge. Take advantage of it before it expires, because when it does, we are not going to bring it down again. So if you haven't registered for the financial fitness challenge, DM me and I'll give you the payment details and then the details for you to join us. It's starting, actually it has already started. We created a group today, and but the grand finale dates are 18th to 21st of February. So join us. Okay, what are your aha moments? So just says the biggest asset. So I suspect that there was a typing mistake there. I'm seeing the biggest asset, Darwin's and marriage trust. Okay, I think you wanted to type that the biggest asset in marriage is trust. Absolutely. Okay, Reverend Energy says your aha moment is protect what you value. Absolutely. And I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, my goodness, marriage pays. If you make the sacrifice, marriage pays. I can't even describe it. The peace, the confidence, the wholeness that my wife enjoys and that I enjoy. This 30 years of trying to make it work, of making it work. It was work in the early beginnings of our marriage. It's work because when two people who come from different backgrounds come together in marriage, you still have to learn and relearn each other. And a lot of people are not patient. They are not patient. And then a lot of us are not emotionally mature to handle those initial challenges, of adjusting to one another. So sometimes the most difficult periods of marriage, the first 3 years, by the time you cross the year 3 in your marriage, the next difficult time is year 7. By the time you survive 7, 8 years, and then you get into year 11, if it doesn't collapse by year 10, the chances of it collapsing after 10 years are slim. Of course it does, because there are people whose marriages have collapsed at 20 something, after 26, 20 something years. And then there are people who say they were just waiting for the children to finish school. They don't want to separate and all that. But they were living like two strangers in the whatever. So I'm not talking about that, but I'm telling you, the payoff is huge. If you value relationship, the payoff is huge. Okay. All right. So Isaac says, my aha moment is when you said you put your phone on do not disturb to attend to family. Absolutely. I think is the biggest form of disrespect. If my wife is talking to me and I'm pressing phone, the moment she says, sweetheart, my phone is down. And I'm looking at her face. The moment I'm doing something and then she says, sweetheart, the phone is automatically down. That is respect. And then if she's a queen, that's how to respect a queen. You don't disrespect a queen. Same thing, but I've seen women disrespecting their husband. The man is talking. I see it all the time. The man is talking. They're on WhatsApp. And then she just, and okay, now, we will do it now. I've already sent her to go and buy crayfish so that we can make the stew. And then she's whatever. Mad disrespect. Mad disrespect. Okay? So we need to respect our partners. Okay, Fausat says, protect what you value. Absolutely. So I value my marriage and I value parenting. I value my children. I want to raise before we got married, we actually wrote it down. We wanted to raise godly children who will make godly choices, whom we don't need to be there peering over their shoulders for them to make godly decisions wherever they were. Okay? Tapa says, trust is the bedrock of every marriage. Absolutely. Isaac asks a question, is education and a certain level of exposure and limited knowledge a barrier to marriage? Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes, because it might present a problem if, for instance, the woman is a PhD, which is true, and the man stopped at secondary school. It's just that he has money and then he has a shop at Alaba or something like that. So it can be a huge issue. Communicating. So yes, it could be a challenge. No, because if those two people really have very strong shared values, it won't be a problem. I would actually even recommend a situation where two people have very, very strong shared values than when they have the same education. They have shared values. They have shared vision about where they are going. So that girl, maybe she has lesser education than yourself, but she's intelligent. There are some girls I've met, in the villages who stopped at secondary school, but their level of reasoning is incredible. They are well brought up. They speak well. There are certain things they see their fellow girls do that they will never do. They are not as educated, but their thinking is top notch. So I will be looking at people who I can communicate at a level with. And then if I go out with her in a professional situation, she can fit in, she can hold a conversation, because it can be a problem. You marry someone when your friends or professional people come into the house, for a party or for something, and then she can't show up. She's hiding somewhere in the boys' quarter. She can't come and show and then if she comes out, she can't mix. It can be a problem. But there are people who can do that, even though their level of education is not that. So it's more about exposure than education. And of course, if the person has limited knowledge, limited understanding, leave her alone. Leave her alone. So, because it can be a challenge. Okay, I meant if the lady isn't educated, not really exposed, and has limited knowledge, I would struggle with somebody that doesn't have knowledge. I would struggle for the reasons I've told you. So make sure, if someone is sufficiently exposed, or if someone is sufficiently teachable, can be trained, can learn, can grow, I wouldn't mind. But if someone doesn't have a growth mindset, if the limitation in knowledge is like a cap and it's unwillingness to know, that's a different thing. But if the person can grow and is willing to learn and is actually making effort to learn, and to develop herself. Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Okay, so this is where we're going to draw the curtain tonight. So whatever happens, keep showing up, because you never know what's coming your way next. I will see you at exactly same time tomorrow.